Jenny Saville. Her body of work is much discussed in the contemporary art world. Elizabeth Palmer offers us a closer look.
It's quite an old painting, but I found it again recently, and I find this really quite fresh. I put this inner kind of glow underneath. And then,
luminous faces, intense and inscrutable. These colossal heads line the walls of Jenny Saville's Oxford studio.
I'll just rub the paint in and make it have a sort of the inner light that's left here. It's a special thing that only paint can do, actually, that.
What does she want to convey?
Yeah, to distill a sort of essence of what we are as human beings. I mean, I think that if you paint figuratively, that's what it's about, really. It's some sort of communication of the unspoken.
Saville's breakthrough came in the early 1990s with her audacious self-portrait Propped, which would later sell for more than $12 million at auction. But it initially caught the eye of collector Charles Saatchi, who saw it at her art school degree show and commissioned more.
Was that a pinch me moment?
You know, it's incredible opportunity for a 21-year-old to, he just said, make whatever you like. And I stood in the space and I saw the back wall and thought, I'm going to make a triptych. And I just got to work, really.
Like Propped, that triptych was a bold rendering of a woman's body.
When did your fascination with flesh begin?
There's not a sort of start point. You know, Freud, Bacon, Auerbach, Picasso, Degas, they were all artists that I liked. Egon Schiele, de Kooning, you know, the people that painted the body, old master painters like Titian, Velázquez, they were painters that I just were drawn to looking at. You just develop along a certain way and build your language, you know. I think I'll have more than one eye. So
Saville's own gaze was both curious and clinical. Here from her first solo show is a torso marked up for liposuction.
If you have a cosmetic surgery book or a plastic surgery book, it will show you how flesh is moved around the body in order to keep it alive for reconstruction of a breast, for example. And I found that fascinating to extend my knowledge, really, of the body.
And body as landscape, objectifying a body?
I didn't see it as objectifying. I just saw as the relationship with nature.
A recent retrospective at the Modern Art Museum of Fort Worth exhibited more than 3 decades of Saville's work, with a real focus on those arresting heads, most of them female.
It was never a sort of conscious decision, okay, I'm only going to paint women. I just did, and then that became a language. I did a lot of self-portraits.
That language tackled the universal experience of motherhood, too, in this piece.
The kind of wriggling, the sense of growth. It's a particular period in a woman's life that's just absolutely amazing and poignant and full of abundance. I wanted to communicate that. So that's a very floppy kind of paint, which when you put the brush this way, it creates that level of splash. And I love this part here.
Jenny Saville's latest exhibition, which opened in Venice last month, features her newest work. At 55, she is a giant in the modern art world, with the kind of success few living artists achieve.
The amount of money that your paintings now fetch, in the millions of pounds. Do you find that gratifying?
I find a studio is the purest space for me, and I leave all of that at the door. So when I come in here, I don't think like that. You know, this painting isn't going to get better because it's going to be worth more money.
Would you buy a painting for millions of pounds?
I've never thought about that. Of course it's absurd. A painting can be the price of a house that a family can live in, and when you look at it like that, you think this is absurd. And on the other flip side of that, if you look through the history of art, art's tended to get very good in moments where there have been financial support of artists and art, whether that's the Renaissance, through the papacy, or commissions. And we are living through one of those times where we value art financially and culturally. And whether you can take those two things apart, I just don't know.
Do you feel lucky?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. You know, I've lived my life doing the activity that I loved when I was a kid. It's really who I am. I think you can ask any painter or sculptor or filmmaker or anybody creative, a dancer, a musician, it's a good way to live.